स्टूडेंट्स, ये आपकी द हिंदू एडिटोरियल की डिक्टेशन रहेगी। आपको पहले भी डिक्टेशन दे रखी है, लेकिन अब की बात थोड़ी सी कम स्पीड में डिक्टेशन देंगे आपको, इसलिए आप ध्यान से सुनेंगे और इसको ट्रांसलेट करेंगे कंप्यूटर पे। बी रेडी, स्टार्ट। स्टिकिंग टू कमिटमेंट्स, ये आपके 500 वर्ड तक के समथिंग वर्ड होंगे। स्टार्ट। अहेड ऑफ द 27th Conference of the Parties of the UNFCCC within bracket COP27 within bracket close in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt in November, the Union Cabinet has approved India's nationally determined contributions within bracket NDC, a formal statement detailing its action plan to address climate change. The 2015 Paris Agreement requires countries to spell out a pathway to ensure the globe does not heat beyond 2 degrees Celsius and endeavor to keep it below 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2100. The subsequent COPs are a quibbling arena where countries coax, cajole and make compromises on the cuts they can undertake over multi-decadal timelines with the least impact on their developmental priorities. While the end product of the COP is a joint agreement signed by all member countries, the real business begins after, where countries must submit NDC every 5 years, mapping what will be done post 2020 to stem fossil fuel emissions. India's first NDC in 2015 specified 8 targets, the most salient of them being reducing the emissions intensity of GDP by 33%, 35% within bracket of 2005 levels bracket close by 2030. Having 40% of its installed electricity capacity sourced from renewable energy and creating an additional carbon sink of 2.5 billion tons of CO2 equivalent through forest and tree cover by 2030. Being a large populous country, India has high net emissions but low per capita emissions. It has also, by participating in COPs for decades, made the case that the existing climate crisis is largely due to industrialization by the US and developed European countries since 1850. However, years of negotiations, international pressure and clearer evidence of the multi-dimensional impact from climate change have seen India agree to move away from fossil fuels over time. At COP26 in Glasgow in 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid out 5 commitments on Panchamrit as the government references it, which included India increasing its non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatt by 2030 and achieving net zero by 2070 or not net carbon dioxide emitted from energy sources. However, the press statement on the cabinet decision was silent on whether India would cut emissions by a billion tons and on creating carbon sinks. While India is within its right to specify its emissions by a billion tons and on creating carbon sinks. While India is within its right to specify its emissions pathway, it should not at any form promise more than what it can deliver, as this undermines the moral authority that India brings to future negotiations. India has expressed its intent via several legislations to use energy efficiently, and many of its biggest corporations have committed to shifting away from polluting energy sources. Going ahead, these should be grounds for India at its pace to be an exemplar for balancing energy use development and meeting climate goals. Full stop.